Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele, and I will be your nerd today, and any other day that you decide to watch one of my crazy little shows. Um, Please excuse the disheveled look. I actually literally just got out of the shower, and didn't do my hair because I have got so much to do, which is actually one of the things I wanted to say real quick. So today is probably going to be a short episode. A little bit of week in Ryan, a little bit of work stuff, and then just a little bit on the topic at hand. Mostly because I am swamped, and I am apologizing now for not just this week, but also next week. So this week's episode is probably going to be a little shorter. It's a very cool episode, and I can't wait to show you the awesomeness that spawned this episode's idea. But I am going to be taking next week off. The reason for that is, to be completely honest, I need to kick a little ass on work stuff. Not to, doom and gloom and all that stuff, but there's a reason why I've got an Amazon. Let's try that again in English. There's a reason why I've got an Amazon wish list on in the description. Why there's a GoFundMe there for Natalie's medical bills. The game industry is not known for its super huge paychecks. We do okay, we really do. But a lot has been hitting my family at the same time as of late. Just things that are breaking. The car has been breaking multiple times. Stuff with the house, stuff with our dogs. Literally. And again, this is not. I'm not trying to be all sad sack, and I don't want to do that because I generally like to be a positive person. But what it does mean is that over the next handful of weeks, I need to really buckle down and get some deadlines out the door, get some projects done, in order to kind of catch up on a few things and to put a Band-Aid over a couple of wounds, financially speaking. Again, this episode isn't about that, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. I just wanted to go ahead and apologize now for the shortness of this episode and the fact that I am going to take next week off from filming. I'm not taking next week off, obviously, because I seriously couldn't afford it if I wanted to. But I just wanted to throw that out there ahead of time to apologize to you guys. Because I know for a few of you look forward to these videos weekly, and I'm hoping that, especially after taking an extra week off, maybe something cool will have popped up. And if it's what I think it is, looking at my calendar, I should have something very, very cool in a couple of weeks to be able to run my mouth about. So let's get away from all that depressing stuff and get into the week of Bryan. The week in Bryan. Let's see. So gaming wise, we've actually taken a couple of weeks off of the Waking Realms game, the game where I play the Capoeira cat, the Capoeira monk. Just a combination of things. Members of the party are moving houses. Weddings, this is the time of year for that kind of stuff that happens. So between that and just generally scheduling weirdness, we have taken the last week off and this week off from that game. So no news on that one. No, we have not moved forward on the Saving the Queen plot line there. We did play Curse of Strahd last weekend, and it seemed to do okay. We had a good time. I won't say that we've broken the figured out how to break the how to break the game system or anything like that. And we definitely have got a lot of work to do when it comes to the figuring out how to get the right allies and magic items and stuff to beat Strahd. If that is the ultimate, I mean, one would assume that that's the ultimate intention of the session or the campaign is to somehow get one over on Strahd and get out of Ravenloft. But who knows? I've never read that book all the way through, and we're playing it now, so I have no idea, and I won't do that because I'm not that kind of metagamer. Let's see what else. Gaming wise, I played a little bit of Magic. Expanded my son has officially built his first Magic deck of his own. Using the new Strixhaven stuff, and it's neat. There's a couple of new mechanics that I hadn't seen in there before. It always weirds me out when there's mechanics that are you gotta have like some of your collection with you when you're playing the game, but not actually in the game, but it's part of the game. That always weirds me out a little bit. But overall, I think that it's an easy enough system and an easy enough setting. Like there's not a whole lot of like I remember when things like phase, if where like cards phased in and out between turns, and there were some really weird early Magic things that I'm glad are no longer really part of the game, or really they don't show up on the cards anymore. But you never know. You know, there's always the possibility of other weirdness happening. But I also got to see some preview cards for the D&D The Forgotten Realms set that's coming out for Magic the Gathering, and I have got to say, if there is anything that will make me buy a freaking booster box of Magic for the first time since I was in Norway, it might be the Forgotten Realms set. Not only is the art really cool, and it's the fact that you're playing Magic, you know, an amazing system like Magic, but with D&D as a background. So good. But seeing just a couple of the cards that have already announced, it's so awesome. The Vorpal Sword. So for the people who aren't involved with D&D, and do not know the reference from Through the Looking Glass, the Vorpal Blade is the sword in Through the Looking Glass that is supposed to be the sword that I believe it's the White Knight that chops the head off of the Jabberwocky Snickersnack with a Vorpal blade, a blade Vorpal, meaning basically a blade so sharp that it cuts through anything. Well, D&D has one, and it's all they've always been, you know, the end all be all. When someone says, you know, who's got the craziest, most powerful sword? Well, it's my +5 Vorpal sword. And the Vorpal sword is the kind of sword that's like, well, if you roll like a 17 or better to hit and hit somebody, off goes their head, you know, they're dead. That's the kind of thing that like D&D has always had in its back pocket. And because of that, they made a card. They made a Vorpal Blade card that is. I didn't see the cost on it, like how much it costs Magic wise or anything like that. But I do know that if it causes any damage to an opposing player, you can spend a bunch of mana, and if you do, that player loses like just immediately. They lose the game. That's crazy. I know that there's a 50 feet of rope, which is a standard adventurer fare in any D&D game. Is the 50 feet of rope, and it does multiple things depending on how much you spend to equip it. It's super rad. Like, these are just cool things that they're adding in, things that we've always, as D&D players, when you're playing Magic, you're always like, man, I wish, you know, recently we started getting Magic supplements for D&D. Now we're getting a D&D supplement for Magic. it's a cool time to be a gamer. Um, we'll just leave that there. Uh, let's see what else. What else? Played a little bit of Sea of Thieves. Played the new um, uh, Pirates of the Caribbean expansion for Sea of Thieves. That is rad. Not only does it give you like a first person sort of like, you don't have to mess with other players. There's no, you don't worry about, jerky PvP monsters or anything like that. But it's basically multiple level instances within the same game that give you a bunch of Pirates of the Caribbean themed things to do, a bunch of puzzles and monsters to fight, and it's really cool. I highly recommend it. I mean, I highly recommend the game anyway, but that little add-on, I don't know. I didn't know Sea of Thieves had that kind of had that kind of Disney money, but I'm glad that they do, or I'm glad that they do or did, and I'm glad that they put together the this expansion because it is super rad. It is very cool. Let's see, play anything else? I don't think I did. No, I think that's about it. Work-wise, I mentioned earlier, I'm swamped. I'm gonna get the Shadowrun book done. I have a little bit of touch-up work to do on some board game narrative, and an unexpected GI Joe program or GI Joe project hopped into my lap momentarily. Very super quick, super small, but still going to be a lot of fun. And it was something that I had pitched to Renegade when we were still talking about when I was lining up like my next year's worth of pitches. This was one of the things that I had pitched, and it kind of snuck up on me. And they were like, "Hey, do you think you can do that real quick?" And I was like, "Sure." So we're working on that, and that's cool. And immediately, what's after that is a big Transformers thing. Like I can't say enough about how fortunate I am that I've gotten in on this whole Renegade thing. Renegade Games have treated me really well. They've got awesome licenses. I love the people I work with. I'm very happy with that whole scene. And if the echoes on the grapevine can be trusted, it's just going to get better. There's more licenses coming, in theory. Yeah, like I'm excited. So I've been working hard on all that. I still have that Baneblade commission. It's daunting. It's been a long time since I've painted a Baneblade, and it's an ordeal, especially one that is still kind of in its component parts, because they want it to be able to transform into the various versions of the Baneblade that exist, and they did all of the modification work, which is fine, but it's just a lot of pieces to keep track of, and it's a lot of things that if I want those paint sections to flow together well, I need to be able to piece it together, look at it, paint it, piece it together, look at it, paint it, and it means that it's going a lot slower than I want it to. But I think the end result is still going to be really rad, and that of course is the goal, is the end product to give to the customer and have the customer be excited about it, and pleased, of course, with the work that is being done. The only other thing that I really have that I've been doing work-wise is Warzone, but there's not a lot there's not a lot for me to do at the moment. We're kind of waiting on the absolute finalized rule set for the last couple of playtest sessions, before we can start moving forward into writing the book. The last couple of tweaks that we've done have had some ripple effects to make some other changes, but it also has kind of put pause on making a few things because we don't want to. The last thing we want to do is design a bunch of new stuff and then have something in playtest go, oh hey, change that. So that's kind of just put on pause at the moment, waiting to hear where things are going with that. But I still feel very positive about the direction that everything's going, as far as like the game itself. And I think I despite any naysayers that are out there, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be solid, and I think that not only the fan base are going to like it. I think that once we get to see Tom Mason's managerial, adjustments to the models and things like that, he's got such a talent that I really do think that when people see these new models, they're gonna go, they're gonna shock and awe. It's gonna be fantastic. I got a few things in the mail over the last week. Somebody bought me some resin off of my Amazon wish list, which was awesome because my printer was down. I was resinless for a couple of weeks, so that's pretty neat. I'm back to printing some new terrain. I printed a very cool bad guy that I can't show you here until he's actually been revealed to the party, because the last thing I want to do, since I know at least 2 of the people in that game watch the show, I don't want them to go, hey, why would he print that? Oh no, we're going up against it. So just keep that in mind. It's very cool. Something that I do that I'm doing for this next game is the next game that I'm running. Is as kind of a celebration of it being an in-person game for the first time in like 2 years. It is a very physical, very visual game. I have a lot of terrain, a lot of maps, a lot of standees, a lot of skinny minis, and a lot of stuff that I'm going to be printing and painting to help set the scenes. And one of the things that I told all the players is, if you let me know roughly what your player looks like, I will print and paint. I'll find a model and print it out, and then I will paint it, as to your specifications. So and they may not know this, but they're going to get to take their models home with them. When the game is over, or if they die or whatever, it's a gift from me to them. But not everybody was able to get a figure from my print files and stuff because they had some weird stuff that isn't available, and I refuse to pirate files because piracy is theft and theft is wrong. This last week I did find one for one of the players is playing an elven rogue. And I found a really cool one in my my loot subscription. That's she stands, like half her head shaved, and she's wiping something off or onto her dagger. It's very cool. So yeah, but I've just been basically printing stuff out, painting, and work as much as I can. Gonna get them bills paid. And that's really it. I know I've been slacking a little bit on some of my stuff, like other things, but I need to stay focused, and I need to be able to get this stuff done, because if I don't get this stuff done, the financial repercussions are significant. I mentioned today that this episode is going to be short, but I did want to talk about very briefly the tabletop gaming industry in the last couple of months really has been toxic when it comes to social media. It has been mean. It has been hateful. We have seen designers going at each other's throats. We've seen freelancers yelling at companies. We've had companies yelling at customers. We've had miscommunications turn into, career-ending explosions. We've had Twitter storms that are so fast and furious that even if someone managed to get an apology, most everyone out there wouldn't even hear it. It's been rough. It's been rough to be a member of the industry lately, and see all of this happen. The the good part of this is hopefully people are learning from other people's mistakes. I'd like to think that people are thinking before hitting send on a lot of the stuff that they're doing. I know that that's not the case. I worry that it is the anonymity behind the keyboard makes things very easy to condemn a project, condemn a person, condemn whatever. And at the end of the day, we have to remember that sometimes, even if some of these people did make mistakes, that could be their livelihood. And just for clicks, or because you want to be on the right side, and you want to be being hyperbolic and talking about how something that may not directly affect you, but saying that it's the end of your world too, and setting all of your comments to 11, whether and I say this. I say this on both sides of the coin. I say this for the people who are being wronged, and the people who think that they are being wronged, and those who are falling into the opposite shoes and don't know it. Everybody's guilty of it. They jump online, they yell and they scream, they defend themselves at the cost of all others. Everything is black and white. Everything is my way or the highway. And it has made it very difficult to want to be part of the social media aspect of the gaming industry, or its players. I know for a fact that there are several people that I know professionally that have turned off their Facebook and Twitter accounts because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. They don't want to see it. They don't. They just want to. They just want to keep on living. Well, I'm here to say in this shortened episode that although things have been bleak in social media lately, it does have its benefits. It does have its shining moments. I mentioned earlier that someone bought a thing of resin, a $40 bottle of resin off of my Amazon wish list, which is on the description of the video. And that might not seem like a big deal, but it's huge for me. It means I've got projects that can keep moving. I can have a creative outlet that I didn't think that I had access to. I'm still able to do all that stuff, and I was able to do that because of the generosity of one of you fans. Well, it is no secret that my wife has an illness. My wife Natalie has an illness called myasthenia gravis. Very long story short, it basically is a nervous disease, a nerve disorder, a nervous system disorder that causes her muscles to freak out, sometimes forgetting to work, sometimes working too hard. She has seizures. It has caused her several times to fall down the stairs. um, and it's not the kind of thing that ever really gets better. It can get worse, or it can stay the same, but it never really, kind of when the needle moves, it never really moves back. Well, because of this illness, my wife has had a very difficult time um, holding down a regular job, like a regular source of income type job. Her art has always been good. Her art site, which is in the description of the video, um, has always been fantastic, and it's a good source. Which, by the way, if you want prints of cool pop culture stuff, or if you want particular commissions or anything, go check out her website. It's in my description. Um, but that's always been kind of the side thing, because it's not steady income, it's not regular income, it's not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. Um, because of that, that illness, we have been trying for years to. We tried to train one of our earlier dogs. It didn't go so well. We tried to semi-train one of our the other one of our existing dogs, and while he's good at certain things, he's not as good at others. And so eventually we ended up deciding that we're going to need to get a third dog that is specifically designed to be a service dog. And that turned out to be Barry Allen. Barry is our German Shepherd, still a puppy, definitely a puppy, and he's fantastic. He's just a little love munchkin, but he has now at 8 months old, he has really shown his signs of what the community has started to term as COVID puppy. And COVID puppy basically is a dog that has been so not socialized because we as humans weren't able to go out and interact with people. We weren't able to go to dog parks and things like that. So our dogs didn't either. And a puppy that basically became so dependent and so attached to the people who were home all of the time through quarantine, it takes a toll on them. And we saw last week, we saw the beginning of that, because we had every reason. He gets along great with the other dogs. Yeah, he chases our cats every once in a while, but he's always been great with the dogs. We saw our first reason to think that there was something wrong, or rather, that Barry was not as well trained as we thought. And that came from, we stopped at a friend's place who has a dog much smaller than Barry, and no sooner did they get within 20 feet of each other that Barry lunged and snapped and barked really loud and scared the hell out of Frank, the other dog. And that was like our first little, okay, we need to nip that in the bud. And then the next time is when he barked very, very close and angry at one of our friend's children who was over. That was really kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Is we had to figure out how to get Barry better trained. I'm too busy. I work all the time. Natalie does her best, and our kids, they're kids. You can't really put the training of a service animal on the backs of a 12 and 13-year-old. So we started looking into it, and training services are expensive. I don't know if you know that, but service dog training, it can be $3,000-$5,000. It is not cheap. It is an expensive process. And as I mentioned earlier, with the financial situation that we're in, that really kind of stung. It kind of hit Natalie in a particular spot, and she made a TikTok video calling out to a gentleman named Jonas Black, who is known on all of his social media as the punk ass dog trainer. And he's known for his travels. He travels around the country, and kind of like how the Dog Whisperer would there's an old TV show, The Dog Whisperer, where like the guy would show up at places, then when people called him out, and he would help work out whatever issue the dog was having. Well, Jonas goes around and helps people train the bad stuff out of their dogs as humanely and like almost, I don't say magical, but like he's got a way with dogs. He really does. Well, Jonas is not the kind of person that has a phone call or have a phone number that you can just call or an email address that you can just send. It's a little harder to get a hold of him. And Natalie, in a, I won't say a depression fall or anything like that, but it was definitely, she was having a rough day. Barry was not helping. She put out a message on TikTok that was basically a call out to Jonas, to the punk ass dog trainer, and was like, please, whatever you can do, whatever advice you can give, just help us. Well, Natalie does not have a huge social media presence. She should. Her art should be enough. All the people we know from Walking Dead and everything, that should be enough. But it isn't, and it didn't get very far. It wasn't getting very far. So I went ahead and picked up the mantle with my TikTok, which is normally me just answering D&D questions and doing geek stuff, and I did this.
May contact the punk ass dog trainer.
Bryan Steele, professional nerd here. Time to get real. So that video that I stitched is my wife, and she is reaching out to cyberspace to try and reach the punk ass dog trainer here on TikTok, because in that video she talks about our service puppy who is problematic currently. So what I'm asking, D&D and Tabletop TikTok right now need some positivity. We need something good to do instead of complaining and yelling and screaming at each other. Please go to Natalie's video and reach out to Punk Ass Dog Trainer. Here's his address. Because we need the help, and Natalie needs the exposure to try and get his attention. Please and thank you. So I put that TikTok out in the world, and I don't know whether it was because of me or if it was someone that she had talked to. Who knows? Maybe we just lucked out. But then, like 2 days following, this happened.
Help may contact the punk ass dog trainer.
COVID puppy, you need some help? You know, I even saw your husband trying to get a hold of me. That hit a nerve with both y'all. You can tell you're good people. Let's do it. I'm gonna help you. Step 1, tell me where you live in the comments. That way I can decide whether or not I'm gonna be able to help you in person with all my travels. If I am there, I will help you for free. If I'm in your area. And if I'm not, I'm gonna pay for a dog trainer for you. Let's get the ball rolling and let's help you. Positivity and love always win.
That's Jonas. That was his private account. And I'm going to try not to get weepy-eyed. The fact that he is, we haven't connected yet. This was just a couple of days ago this happened. The fact that he is willing, if possible, to help out with our dog, and if not possible, to front that non-insignificant amount of money to get Barry trained to be the service dog, to be the proper dog he's supposed to be, the reason why we got him in the first place. It reminded me that social media, while it has its evils, it has its slings and arrows, it also has a whole lot of foundation and a whole lot of networking and a whole lot of positivity that can be accomplished if you think it through and use it for that. And so I wanted to make this video as a call out to everybody out there who watches me, or anybody who might be in the middle of the nasty media storms that are blurring around right now, ruining everybody's day as soon as they pick up their phone. Is good stuff does happen because of it too. We just have to choose not to participate in all that negativity. You might think that you're doing the right thing by fighting the fight. You might think that you're doing the right thing by vilifying that guy who said something nasty about your friend. But at the end of the day, what really matters is trying to do right by everybody around you and trying to help others with the wonderful tool that is social media, or the powerful tool that is social media. And I think that everybody should try and do something nice for someone. Help someone out. Share their link for their charity. Throw a couple of bucks at when you go to the pet store and they tell you that they've got this thing that they're doing online. Actually go to the website. Share that website. You know, go fill out their little 5-minute survey and, you know, tell others to do the same. Because we have such a powerful tool in the social media. We have such a powerful tool at our disposal, and so many of us use it as a weapon, and so many of us use it as a way to guilt others. And I really think that having now several times, but having now felt the weight of a media presence's generosity, I can't imagine. I want others to feel this way. I want other people to have good experiences. I opened up Facebook and I laughed, so people told some fun jokes. Not I opened up Facebook and, oh, did you see the horrible thing that's happening? I think we need to try as a people and as a community, as an industry, we got to try and stay on the positive. Try and help others when they're asking for it, when they are reaching out a hand, don't look away. Even if it is just sharing whatever plight they're having, sharing it with others in an effort to maybe find that one random person out there who's looking to do a good deed. Maybe they can get the help that they need. But that's really what I think today's topic needed to be about. Is there is so many good things that can happen because of social media, because of your friends, because of, you know, everybody, that we owe it to ourselves and to others to really just try and tap into that. So this week, not only am I going to tell you that the obvious, you know, get vaccinated, wear a mask if you have to, you know, be safe, that sort of thing. And I'm definitely going to tell you to go out there and play some games, because I know I will. I'm going to have I'm going to have some games being played. I know so I want you to as well. But I'm also going to task you guys to try and find someone who needs some assistance, and do something nice for them. Maybe in the gas station or the grocery store, if the person behind you just has like a thing of detergent, buy their thing for them. If you're driving through McDonald's for breakfast, be like, hey, how much is the car behind me? I'll take care of them too. We need a little more positivity in this world. Find somebody who's got, that's like, oh my gosh, I need this thing. Find out if you can put together, find 5 or 6 of your friends, pool money together and get it for them. It doesn't have to be for any kind of clout, or it doesn't have to be for any kind of a special thing. In fact, if it can be anonymous, that's even better, because it means you're just doing the good thing to pass on that good energy and to feel better about what you're doing, not because you want somebody to pat you on your back. So that's my thing. Be safe. Get vaxxed. Play some games. Go do something nice for somebody else, because it really can change someone's life if you let it. All right, don't forget, see you in 2 weeks. Stay safe.